Your thought, these gods and these pans and all that shit from your thoughts, which means they're your children. They locked you here. There's a creator God that got you locked here in Tartarus. Your body's Tartarus. Your body's the jail. Your fire is Chronos, ancient, Saturn. Saturn. Oh, so the most valuable, and the only thing of value is everlasting life, which we have. We don't realize it because we're in the illusion of time. We're trapped in thinking, well, panic's in the fall of this life. Fucking up. I'll be here in springtime again, nigga. Looking at my hands going, how did this shit happen? Unless you break the cycle. You break the cycle through understanding where and what you are. And that where your real enemy is. You won't break the cycle walking around trying to get at this white man, trying to get at this economy. You won't, because you won't realize who's really fucking. When you go up there, they have no cosmic being, no cosmic place. You'll be mad at some shit that don't even exist. That's like you dying than being mad at your mortgage. Like, you know you don't live in that house no more. That's crazy. But you so wrapped up. It got me on that mortgage though. God damn. You're like, wait a minute, you know you don't live there no more. But that mortgage though. But we build up this everyday white man hate. So when you get there and there's no white man, you're like, that motherfucking white man. And then you don't even see no white man. But I know he's doing it. I know it's them, the Anunnaki, the reptilians. But what's really happening is your mind is still bonded to human thought. And that's what pulls you back. That's the magnets that pull you back. That's what makes your heart heavier than a feather. The symbolic nature of your heart being lighter than the feather is you no longer have an emotional connection. They say, it's with a heavy heart I come to you. What does that mean? It's with an emotional heart I come to you. So if your heart is heavier than the feather, what does that mean? With an emotional heart I come to you. If you are no longer emotional about this realm, right, about getting some get back, if you are no longer emotional about it, your heart starts to become light as a feather. That's what you're constantly working on. That's what I told you from the beginning. You're working on disdaining, getting away, digressing from this shit as much as you can in this every instant that comes into your life. Oh, no, I'm let that go. Okay, then. Let them just be mad. If that's how they feel, let them. We'll see how that works out.
No longer concerned, but trying to convince them with your emotions. Subjective ideas.
Say again?
You're no longer concerned about getting emotionally involved, trying to control whoever you're in an argument with.
Well, not just an argument, because again, listen to what I'm saying. The first person you're in an argument with is yourself. So you're no longer debating in your own head. What if you start to stand behind some of the things that you know or you feel you know. How do you start to know? When you start getting away from the arguments of humanity. So how do you get away from the arguments? Not pick a side, get rid of it. I'm done with it. I don't want it. I don't want to even, maybe you're right, maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong, maybe you're wrong. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? How many times have you argued recently about the fundamentals of the dangers of smoking cigarettes?
None.
Because you don't smoke.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm not deeply into humanity, it's not even about winning an argument. I'm not arguing it. I don't care about it. Yeah, see, you've been told, listen to this. I want you to think about this shit on a very fundamental level. You've been told it's about saving the babies. It's about the babies. How many babies have you saved? How many babies have any of these niggas saved? Fucking exactly. None. But it's a theory that you're so used to arguing and holding on to, even if you're not saying it, it's here. It's about the kids.
So they judge themselves based
I
on
believe the children are our future. That's what you lead them with. Let them lead the way. You get what I'm saying? Show them all the beauty of songs inside. Is there a sense of pride to make it easier? Let the children laugh. Like, you know this shit, dumb shit. Remind us how we used to be. I decided long ago never to walk. Like, look how much you know that song. And each time somebody's singing, you go, oh, God. In fact, in Coming to America, when Randy Watson's singing, everyone said, you know what I'm saying?
And the song wasn't even that old.
Right.
It wasn't even that old.
Oh, shit, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? I know there wasn't George Benson singing.
That was Whitney Houston's.
No,
I remember most.
And that's the version you remember.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know it was.
No, that was shit. That was a remake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
George Benson, I think.
Yeah, this one. Okay.
Yeah. Never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I have my dignity. Because the greatest, terrible. You know it because you're programmed so thoroughly with it. So it's the argument that's up here. What if the children ain't our future? What if shit, nigga, there is no, like, see, you'll learn metaphysically, there's no such thing as the future. There's only now. Right? And your ass is here just dumb now. Fuck, Bobby used to say, fuck teaching the kids, you need to teach the adults. You know what I'm saying? There's so many ways you can go, but those slick things and that slick thing he was saying was another way of saying what I'm trying to tell you right now. In his mind, he gave up that little hustle of trying to save kids. It's a way of taking hope and moving it. Because that's demiurge is one of the ways it manipulates you is through hope. So when you little, everyone is telling you how bright you're going to be, all the things you can possibly do. All this hope about you. And then you don't be too much of nothing. And then you have a kid. And then your mom's is sitting there going, well, we're in a better world. And, you know, now we have more opportunities, computers, and all sorts of shit. Your kid, you know, Kenny's a good father. Giving up on the fucking actual kid. No diploma. No nothing. So we giving up on him. So it's all on the kid. And then that kid really grows up to be just as fucked up.
And then you got to deal with the fact that you live up to the hope and desires that your people have. You know, your own expectations.
Hold on a second. I'm going to tell you something. He came up, comma, I didn't go deep. I'm downstairs doing the tape with Kenny. I'll be done soon. So, like, say, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was just talking about also dealing with the idea that you didn't even live up to the hype of your own parents had for you.
Oh no, that's that. But let's assume that's already it.
Oh, okay.
That never happened. Okay. But then your parents start to look at the grandkid because you've given up on the kid, and then even after that, so you first had the hope in you. Then you put the hope in your kid. Then that motherfucker's living in your basement won't leave. You put the hope in your grandkids, and then eventually you die. So you just transferred hope. That's what you really did, and that's the hustle. That's the hustle of this place. Just to keep, because humans without hope don't exist. Humanity and hope are one-on-one. You gotta have hope. Hope one day that it'll be a better economy. Hope that black boys will have a school. Hope that, and not to say none of this shouldn't happen, if that's what people came here to do, because some people are at that level where that's needed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just have to make the choice. Are you fucking with this shit and you make the decision to move past it, or you sitting around playing with it? You really don't need to be fucking with me if you're still playing with it, because it's going to contradict, and really you will never get out of me what you really need. you'll get a nice speech because I know how to deliver a speech and know how to make it entertaining. So that's exactly what most people would get. But if they're really trying to hear the word, and we're going to talk about some of the things that happen to you, that's exactly why you're here. The before and after, so people can hear that. That's how we'll end this. But if you're really not trying to make that commitment, then what I'm doing is just a form of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And when I become not entertaining, you just won't fuck with me no more. But if you're really trying to transfer yourself, I've been sharing a lot of breakthroughs. I've been getting down to it. And if you could, it's hard to understand because and you'll attest to that, you're not going to hear me straight out because I'm not speaking to your argument. I'm not speaking to your opinion. I'm speaking to what you have to do in your programming. And until you do that in your programming, I'm a no-go. I'm just going to be a guy that you like here, so that you think is here for black people. No matter how many times I tell you, I'm not here to save black people. I'm not here for the black race. I'm here for the gods. And I'm here to raise up individuals that hears the calling through the frequency. The end. There's no in between. You may be able to listen to what I'm saying and intellectualize with it, but you won't be able to internalize it and transform through it. And if you are, and you feel you are, well then fucking good. But I haven't noticed any of this shit until somebody said, when I did this, and they'll find one thing that they'll catch, and then all the shit I've said, or most of the shit I said, will come into a context for them. They can't find the context. And you can't find the context because in public school is how they taught you to learn. And that's really, see, we got more caught up on what they were teaching you to learn in public school, not how they taught the black kid to learn. So if you take Africa, for example, if they were going to teach you about a tree, you would learn the science, the math, the history of that tree while you stood in front of that tree, while you gave it water, while you investigated the seeds and planted them, while you ate off the fruit, climbed the tree, and touched the tree. So you will have a full experience, and then you will hear the story of that tree and where that story fits into the consciousness of the people. But now when you subjugate, you got math, Bell, Aaron, science, Aaron, reading, Aaron, English. Right, English. None of them are related to each other. Social studies, they're just these subjugated ways of learning. Subjugated ways of learning. White people learn like that. They did this based upon, or they did computers at one time based upon those two differences. One processor was called a CIS, C-I-S something K, I think. And it was an acronym. Don't ask me. And one was called RISC, R-I-C-K maybe, or R-I-S-K. No, R-I-C-K, I think. Either way, another acronym. But the differences was the way one processor worked was it took a chunk of information, processed it, spit it out, another chunk, processed it, spit it out, another chunk, processed it, spit it out. And then to even make it faster, they put a co-processor next to it, whereas it started processing before it got to the processor for speed. Okay. That was either CISC or RISC, whichever one. The other one, CISC or RISC, was it would take a stream of information and just process it in a serial stream. Which means I would take the tree and process all that information all the way through. Okay. As opposed to taking little bits of it and dealing with it like subjugated teaching. So white people they can only deal with little parts. They can't deal with the whole. They can't deal with the bigger picture. That was a way the demiurge, when making them, was able to lock them down thoroughly to this place. Because they can't see a bigger picture. They can't go beyond what's in front of them. You know what I'm saying? So they have no danger of going anywhere, of becoming another entity that becomes a rival of getting off this place like us. See, with the soul, all of those, in melanin, all of those things change for us. See, like a tiger can only really much deal with what's in front of him. So can a lamb. Water's in front of me, I'm dealing with that right now. All my attention is there. And ultimately, you could say there's something in them subconsciously that moves during seasons and acts accordingly towards the season, but their consciousness is in that moment. Food today, you know what I'm saying? Food for baby, you know what I'm saying? Just to keep the shit going. Procreate and keep flowing, you know what I'm saying? Now, people would be the same way too. White people are. It's just a weaker, more animalistic way of thinking. Siscorous, but just a small fragmented or subjugated way. So they set their schools up with subjects. And that's what they're thinking. Subjugated thinking is not even for you. Before you even get to what you're learning, the fact that you pause, we didn't learn about that chair. You got to sit in that chair. You know, niggas, you got to sit in it, feeling it, smell it, lay back in it. They can just read about the chair and then go on to math. We need to know the mathematics of it, where it fits in geometry. Why are we talking about this in the village? Its importance in the village. The story of when the king first got it, and the king first sat in it, and the king did this, and the mythology or the story of how he got it to be that chair in the village. Like, for instance, the Iron Throne. If you watched Game of Thrones, there's all this story in that one throne. Even though they never gave you the whole thing, but because they really can't in a bigger picture, because the way the throne was set up, fire, just the look of it. But you know that there's more backstory to all of those swords in that throne. You just know, and that's enough. You understand what I'm saying? To know that there's backstories, and that's as far as they can go. Know that there's more. You understand what I'm saying? But it'll take them forever just to decode their backstories, i.e. look at Star Wars. This is about the 8th or 9th movie, just trying to get to the backstory off of one story.
Right.
And not to mention, he set up backstories, no doubt. But they don't know how to tell that complete story in one sitting. That's how you know they stole from a nigga on The Matrix. Because technically that first story was complete. It was a full story. You felt satisfied everywhere.
When he flew, I was satisfied.
Yeah, that was it.
I was literally satisfied.
That was it. You didn't need to see any more of The Matrix. Everything else was because of the popularity. You know what I'm saying? Back to the Future, you could tell us a nigga story. You didn't really need to see any more. Right. They just made more because it was popular. But Star Wars, actually, you didn't need to see any more in the first one. They just made more. But when they try to tell an expanded story, they got to keep going on the side. But you got to remember, these are from nigga mythologies. So they're retelling nigga stories. These are not their stories. So you didn't really need to see more. But when they decide to try to tell more, you see they down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies there. And it's probably going to be more. But they completed the next 3. That's complete. The one with Luke Skywalker with the original cast. But they're doing backstories, Solo, and they did one more backstory, the one where Princess Leia got the information. You know, because Star Wars starts with, she's helped me, Obi-Wan. I need your help. She puts it in the droid. But what she put in the droid was the plans to destroy the Death Star. So one of those movies was how they got the plans, who created the plans, and the movie ends with they're giving her the plans and she's telling the droid. So they backstory, Solo's backstory, but they got to tell all these stories, but that doesn't mean they're not trying. Harry Potter was not a complete story. Now that was created from that white woman's head. It was designed to tell a bigger story. You know what I'm saying? But they can't do it in one sitting.